The last time we were in the dojo, the Greenliners took home another Ross Lippman Memorial Trophy, the team's fourth in its last 6 seasons. How's that for a dynasty? Sadly, though, we will never know how a quest for its 5th title will go because, well, they simply aren't a team anymore. So if I had some water, I'd pour some out for the greatness that was the Mean Green Machine and move on because look at what we do have here. We have the Red Scare and we have the Purple Panthers on hand to kick off another season. New faces, new format, same name. You guessed it. It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Hello everybody and welcome to the opening week of the UC. I'm Damon Turbot. We will get to the teams in a minute, but I first want to acquaint you with a new rule for this season. We will still have 3 rounds with the opening round worth 4 points, 2 questions. But instead of a 3-question middle round, we now have a 5-question lightning round. Also, the final round is now a 3-question showdown worth a total of 6 points. So for the folks counting at home, that is a total of 15 points up for grabs instead of the old 11. That lightning round, by the way, a little different than the old middle round. 2 more questions means no business, all banter. We're making quick hits here, so nothing too fancy, I'm sure. Sure, you guys are pretty sick of looking at my face, though. So we'll go first to Malcolm Kellner of the Red Scare. You got a little, people were ribbing you right before you stepped on about not winning a championship. First game of the season.
Damon, it's the fact I don't have a ring. You can see my hand, no ring here. It's a cloud that hangs over my head, has been hanging over my head for almost 4 years now, but this is the year that all changes. I may have a purple tie on, but I'm not about the Purple Panthers. I'm about the Red Scare.
Great message. I don't know about that. I think you're kind of sending some mixed messages. But let's go over to the rookie, Alex Martins. Boy, it's your first time here in the UC dojo. How you feeling?
Pretty good. I'm ready to get some jewelry, get some nice heavy hands. Walking out of here with some accolades.
Well, you might walk out of here with accolades, but unfortunately you don't get a ring because I won one and I don't have anything shiny on my hands. But anyway, let's get to the goods. And believe it or not, it's already October, so that means the NBA tips off in just a few short weeks. And what an offseason it has been. It began with Draymond Green drunkenly calling out the Cleveland Cavaliers, continued by the Clippers switching to the most horrific jerseys you'll ever see, and ended memorably with Mark Cuban getting turned down like me at prom night by DeAndre Jordan to cap off the wildest free agency the game has ever seen. And being the great people that we are, we've already looked past the Warriors' probable repeat and into what will surely be another drama-filled, gut-wrenching free agency period next summer. The prized possession? Kevin Durant. The Durantula will be creeping onto everybody's radars, and there is already heavy speculation about where he will land. So, 1 year from today, who will Kevin Durant be hitting the floor with, Malcolm?
Well, I got to say, Damon, Kevin Durant. Oh, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, Damon, will be staying in Oklahoma City. I mean, I think we're all overthinking this here. We think because of LeBron switching teams not once but twice that everyone else is going to do it too. Look, all the signs are pointing to Kevin Durant staying in OKC, which is why all the analysts think that. And Kevin Durant has even said himself, he says, I want to be one of those players who plays for a team his entire career. I want to hang banners up in this arena. I want my number retired by the Thunder. He wants to leave a legacy as a player who took the Thunder from nothing into something, perennial contender, perennial championship winner, he hopes, and that can happen if he stays.
Maybe a surprising approach here from Malcolm, saying he's going to stay in Oklahoma City. What do you think, Alex?
Well, I think when it comes to when a player remembers their legacy, their whole career, I think they're going to want to have a ring. And if OKC can't deliver Kevin a ring, where's he going to go? So what I think is he's going to pull a LeBron. He's going to go home. He's going to go to Washington. He's going to work with John Wall, going to work with Bradley Beal. Once you fill in the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward position, there's no stopping. There's a ring right there.
Straight butter.
So once you fill in 3 out of the 5 positions, then you might have a championship caliber team. Oh wait, in OKC they already have that. They have Russell Westbrook, who was almost an MVP last year. The second best player in the NBA. They re-signed Enes Kanter, who's an amazing center when he's motivated. They have Serge Ibaka, one of the best defensive players in the league. They have a championship-ready team right now. Brand new head coach, Billy Donovan. He was an amazing coach in college basketball. Scott Brooks clearly couldn't get the job done. Durant wanted, although he didn't say it, Durant wanted him out. He had his hands all over that Billy Donovan signing. He He was thrilled when they brought him in. Everyone's healthy. They got the new coach, retooled the roster. This is a championship team right now. He's not going anywhere.
Okay, so he's talking a lot about why he should stay in OKC. What does Washington offer Kevin Durant that'll make them the better choice?
Washington has a veteran head coach in Whitman.
Randy Whitman.
Randy Whitman.
Literally, one of the worst, statistically, one of the worst coaches in NBA history, but continue.
We got, well, look, everyone knows the Thunder is carried by two players. That's Durant and Westbrook. Everyone else. Cantor is good on offense, but on defense, he is nothing. He is trash. So when it comes to a team that Durant can go behind and really just push all the way to the finals and finally get that ring that he desired in 2012,
if he wants the ring, he's going to stay in OKC. The only reason he'd go to Washington is he wants, the cool story of going to play at home. That's the only reason he would go there. If he actually cares about his legacy, cares about not just leaving and jumping ship and trying something new,
cut you off
he's going to stay in OKC.
I like the idea of him going home. I really like your bow tie, but I really like Malcolm's analysis here. He gives a lot of great reasons for him to stay in OKC. He's got Russell Westbrook, who's fantastic, Enes Kanter, a great signing, a lot of pieces to work around there. Scott Brooks. I'm going to give the points to Malcolm and the Red Scare for the first points of the UC season. And speaking of KD, actually, his Oklahoma City Thunder missed the playoffs for the first time since the 08-09 campaign. They were one of just 4 teams to miss the playoffs last year after making it the previous season. But we have seen, as I said earlier, a lot transpire in the association over the past few months. So, Alex, of these 4 squads, which team has the best chance to make it back this year?
Well, I think it's dead given it's going to be OKC back in there. Once Kevin Durant is back, it's hard to stop him from basically one-manning his way into the playoffs. There's really no other way to put it.
No other way to put it. Malcolm might have another way to put it.
Well, it's interesting. I was arguing for the Thunder. Now I have to argue against the Thunder, and I can't deny they have a lot of talent, but injuries are the question with them. Kevin Durant, he was injury-plagued all last season. They didn't make the playoffs because he couldn't stay healthy. He had multiple injuries, and now that could become a problem again. Westbrook, we've seen injury issues prop up for him the last couple years, which is why I'm going with the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix, they're bringing all their good players back, and they brought in the one guy they needed, Tyson Chandler. They had an amazing offense, one of the best offenses in the league, run and gun. They bring in Tyson Chandler. Now all of a sudden, they've got a great defense too. So Phoenix looks like the team, to me, that's going to finally make the playoffs this year.
So he's saying Phoenix is attacking now with both sides of the ball, making a big acquisition. Got to defend your Thunder here.
Look, the Thunder have gotten a deeper bench with DJ Oxton coming on, Enes Kanter coming on. They have a more dynamic offense. They run the different pick and roll. And just the Suns are in disarray. They lost the Morris brothers. He wants to be traded. Everything's in shambles. They got Tyson Chandler, and now they have a good 5 position, but they really don't have any of the pieces. They lost Isaiah Thomas. They lost Dragic. They don't have anything. They're not going to make it again.
They still have Eric Bledsoe. They still have Gerald Green. They still have Tyson Chandler now. They've got a lot of great talent, run and gun,
Gonna have
great
to end
team
it
now.
at the talent there, and I'm also going to have to agree here with Malcolm because he's just given me a little bit more as why the Phoenix Suns are going to make that 8th spot. So it's going to be a sweep here in the opening round of the UC season. Red Scare up 4-0. Good stuff from these guys, though, for sure. It is time to head to break, though. It's time for these guys to tap out. Estelle Iserloh and Commissioner Rubenstein, who will be going head-to-head in our first ever lightning round when we come back. Welcome back to the UC, where you are about to witness the first lightning round in the history of unsportsmanlike conduct, and I'm sure it has you foaming at the mouth. So let me introduce Estelle Iserloh of the Red Scare and Harris Rubenstein, Commissioner Harris Rubenstein of the Purple Panthers. But let's go to Estelle first. How does it feel to be a part of such an historic event?
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I think Red Scare's going to take it this year. I think we're going to get that ring.
Well, you guys got a good start. You're off to a good start today, up 4-0. Harris, we just had a little nostalgic moment before we came on, but don't let it get to you.
Last time I was at this table, I was on the Red Scare with Damon Turbin, Andre Tarquinio, and Ian Steele in Corpus Christi, Texas right now. Best championship team ever, but I'm glad to be back at the desk for at least one more day. Happy to be here.
Yeah, good to have Harris back for one more day. Also, shout out to Ian Steele. How you doing, buddy? Hopefully all is well down in Texas. But anyway, we left off talking some hoops, but now we're going to the NFL for these 5 questions, and we begin with the highest individual honor in the game. I know it's really early, but who's your quarter season MVP? Estelle, sorry.
I'll have to go with Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers. He's had passing yards of 771 yards and 10 touchdowns just in this season. Also, he's making incredible passes. He's beat 2 legit defenses without Jordy Nelson, and they're 3-0 currently.
Okay, without Jordy Nelson?
Well, I love me some Aaron Rodgers, but I think right now, by and far, it's the Tom Brady revenge tour. I mean, he's been ripping up for the first 3 weeks of the season. We're going to see in this week 4 that, yes, Aaron Rodgers is going to take a statistical advantage because Brady's on a bye week. But if you look at the averages over season, right now, Brady is on pace to statistically have a better season than Aaron Rodgers. It's great that he doesn't have Jordy Nelson. He's still doing all these crazy things. The Packers offense has been doing this for decades on decades, but the Patriots offense with Gronk back, with Edelman, with everything working, the new 4 tight end offense they use at the goal line, Brady has been unstoppable. His completion percentage has been higher than Rodgers.
I'm going to be stoppable here. I'm going to have to stop you, cut you off. But I like what you're saying. You're going to get the points here. Brady, of course, is statistically ahead, as you said. And normally the Patriots don't start off very well at the beginning of the season, so this is some scary stuff to see. But let's go on to the next question, which is the next position that we like to talk about. The league is stacked with it, talent at the wide receiver position. So, Harris, who was the best in the game today?
You know what? We always see these huge receivers, big guys. Julio Jones, A.J. Green, 6'4", 6'3" guys. I'm going to go with someone a little bit smaller, Antonio Brown. We saw him. He extended his 5 catches for, I think he's gotten 5 catches in every game for 36 straight games. That's almost 2.5 seasons. That's a ridiculous amount of catches. He's unstoppable on both punt returns, kick returns, and catching the ball. We've yet to see an NFL quarterback shut him down. The only thing that has shut him down was Michael Vick being quarterback last night for the Steelers. But besides that, this man has been unstoppable since at least the past 3 years.
It was horrid. Estelle?
Yeah, I have to say he broke his streak last night. And Odell Beckham is 22, and he is making history. He's made 110 receptions and 1,574 yards in his past seasons. Also, he is 89.7 yards per game. He's extremely talented. He distracts the defense so that Eli can hit other receivers. I mean, he's gonna take it by storm.
Take it by storm, and he will take it by storm, but he's just 22 years old, as you said. I got to give it to a guy who's been in the league for a little bit longer. Points are going to be going to Harris. Now, let's go from the best to the worst. Estelle, which team has been the biggest disappointment so far this year?
I'm going to have to say the Colts. They got the same defense, same offense as they had last year. They're picking up young wide receivers, passing running backs. Andrew Luck is talented, but if you don't have a good offense, then your team's in trouble.
Harris?
I'm going to have to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, this was a team coming in here that, in an NFC East with the Cowboys, they stole the Cowboys star running back in DeMarco Murray. But we saw this Eagles team that was coming in on the preseason, vaunted as the NFC favorites, maybe only outside of the Packers. Supposed to be an incredible team. DeMarco Murray has 18 rushing yards on 10 carries. This guy led the league in rushing last year. 18 yards? Amateur hour. This team lost. They traded away basically their entire offensive line, and we're seeing what happens. Sam Bradford has been able to get it done. DeMarco Murray is just not.
All right, DeMarco Murray has been terrible this season, but the Colts, they just barely squeaked out a win against the Titans last week. Other than that, they'd be 0-3, so I'm going to have to give the points to Estelle. And let's move forward, though, sticking with the theme of disappointments, because we love to talk about disappointment here. A lot of guys changed teams in the offseason as you were heading here. Which of these guys has the least fulfilled hype?
Well, I think coming into this season, he signed the biggest contract of any free agent in defensive player history, and that's Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh, over the past couple years, has been easily one of the best defensive tackles in all of football. But this year, with the Dolphins, we have rumors of him not following plays of the defense, him just kind of going off and doing his own thing. He has no or maybe 1 sack over his first 3 games of the season. Last year, he had at least 1 in each game for the first 5 games of the season. Ndamukong Suh has been a huge letdown for a Dolphins team that was supposed to maybe challenge for the AFC East title, but they might not even make the playoffs.
I'm going to go with DeMarco Murray. He is not doing much as a running back right now. He had a hamstring injury. Last game he sat out, and his replacement, Ryan Matthews, did a lot better than he did. Ryan Matthews gathered 24 attempts and 108 yards.
I'm going to have to say this one's really close, because if Ryan Matthews is outdoing you, you're doing something incredibly wrong. But I'm going to have to go with the biggest defensive contract in NFL history. Ndamukong Suh has been non-existent this year. We see guys like J.J. Watt still doing their thing. So I'm going to have to give the point to Harris and the Purple Panthers. Now it's time for the last question, and that's reserved for the champs. The New England Patriots have undoubtedly been the best team in the AFC over the first month. Estelle, who would you say is the second best?
I'm going to have to go with the Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals. They have 285 passing yards, 129.3 rushing yards. They're the first in the AFC North. They have Jeremy Hill, A.J. Green, not to mention their quarterback. He's got a 66% passing rate. if they keep on playing the way they will, they might be the Patriots. I hate to break it to you here.
Say Cincinnati might beat the Patriots. Might be
might
number
be-
one.
They might be the
I
Patriots.
love the Bengals. I hate the Ravens, so it's always nice to see this, but there's only one problem with the Cincinnati Bengals. They can't win a playoff game. What's the point of being the second best team in the AFC if you can't win a playoff game? It has to be the Denver Broncos. This defense right now might be better than their offense, led by the Hall of Fame legend Peyton Manning. Their
Peyton's
defense,
old.
Peyton
Peyton
might
is
be
old.
old, but their defense right now is one of the most formidable defense in the AFC, led by DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller, both fully healthy. This defense has one of the best yards per game averages in the entire NFL. The
Great
Bengals also,
defense.
Jeremy Hill has been, he missed the game. He's been a little iffy. Giovanni Bernard has filled in well, but we all know what's going to happen to this Bengals team. They'll win,
All right.
they'll win the
I'm
North,
gonna
and they'll
have to
lose
cut
the
Harris
playoffs.
off because we know how much Harris loves his football, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with the Cincinnati Bengals here. The points are going to Estelle in the Red Scare. Well, let's go to break, though. Check that out. We'll be going back to break, but we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. 2 topics remain. There are 6 points on the table, and excuse me, Joe, you could certainly use a few. Hate to say it, but you're down 6-3 right now. How you feeling?
Comeback City, baby. Everything can happen. And UC, baby, let's go. I got the CPAC.
He's stoked. Andre, you got the lead. How you feeling?
Look, this is my last semester on UC. I got 2 rings. I want a third. I'm going to close it out here.
It's not going to happen.
Give me
You're
the,
on Malcolm's team.
give me
I'm
the
sorry.
I almost said you were losing, but you are winning. You're in the
Yeah,
driver's
give me
seat
the
here.
ball.
And we're still talking football, but now we're talking college football more specifically. And we've seen some amazing performances so far this year, like Leonard Fournette's 210 rushing yards per game, or Nick Chubb's 12 consecutive 100-yard efforts, just to name a couple. We've labeled our most valuable players this season. Now let's hear some Heisman predictions. Joe, you're first.
Well, it has to go. As you mentioned, Leonard Fournette. He's on track to go for 2,500 yards rushing. Obviously, probably not going to happen. Also 32 touchdowns. But the last person to win a Heisman was Mark Ingram in 2009. He only put up 1,600 yards and 17 scores. Fournette is going to surpass that by far. He's the easy Heisman candidate early in the season. He's also going to face Eastern Michigan this Saturday, who ranks last in run defense.
So he's looking to maybe pad the stats a little bit. Andre?
Yeah, but other than that, he is facing SEC defenses from there on out. Also, let's be real. This is a quarterback's league. It's a quarterback's award. This is going to Trayvon Boykin. Here's why. 65% completion, 1,470 yards. He puts up ridiculous stats week in and week out because he plays on that TCU team that needs to put up points. He beat Texas Tech 55-52 because the whole fourth quarter, back and forth, scoring back and forth, and then eventually he wins it on a last-second play. Clutch plays like that also, you need that Heisman moment. He already has it. He's going to keep winning games because they play trash opponents who can score points. I'll give you that. Boykin also can run the ball. He has 200 rushing yards so far. But you mentioned Mark Ingram, and what I'll say about Mark Ingram is that was a year where there was no big quarterback dominating. But every year that there's been a quarterback who dominates, the quarterback wins the award. This year it's going to be Trayvon Boykin. Mark Ingram got 46% of the vote. That's the lowest in the last 15 years because they were divided. They didn't want to give it to a running back, but they had to because there was no quarterback.
So
on the
they
board.
had to give it to him, Joe.
I'm about to throw a wrench in the conversation. Now, Trayvon Boykin.
This is real.
It is real. Found it over there. Trayvon Boykin plays in a spread offense. He's like an advanced Marcus Mariota. There's no way that he's not going to. They have
just
to
told
win.
me he's
they
an
have to
advanced
win
Heisman
out.
Trophy
they
winner.
have to win out on
Marcus-
Saturdays. Every
All
Saturday.
right, all right.
in order for them
I'm
to
going
get
to
the
put a
championship.
wrench in this conversation just to use your prop. Very nice prop, by the way. But I can't give you the points. I'm going to have to give the points here. He's playing for a better team right now in TCU. He's
garbage.
He runs
A
the
better
ball
team?
and he throws the ball very well. They're a top 3 team right now, so I'm going to have to give the points to Andre.
Not a top 3 team, actually. They're 4th, just so you know.
Excuse me, top 4 team.
Joe's getting mad at you, man.
Joe's getting mad, and I understand that because Leonard Fournette has been fantastic, but we have to move on. Points are going to the Red Scare. And when you think of college, when you think of defense in college football, you think of this very SEC. You can't help it. When I ask you who the top defense in the nation is, what do you think? Well, it's not Bama. It's not LSU either. It's not Ole Miss or Mississippi State. You have to go all the way up to Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. That's right, at 118 measly yards per game and just 2.34 yards per play, the Boston College Eagles have soared above any other defense in America. Nobody saw Steve Adazio's bunch being in this position. So, of course, there are many skeptics. Andre, Do you think this defense right now, best in the country, is legitimate?
They're absolutely legit. You just the word legit is a kind of a subjective term, but you just asked me, is the best defense in the nation by far legit? You just read some of the stats. I'll read the rest. They've given up 472 yards, not per game. That's total in 4 games. That's insane. 2.34 yards per game. That's also first. 2 offensive touchdowns in 4 games. That's also first. 118 yards per game. That's also first.
Yeah, but who have they played, though? They've
played
3
Florida
FCS
State.
teams. Howard has not won a game yet. And okay,
they gave up
they
how
allowed
many yards?
11 yards to Howard. I'll help your conversation. But Howard has yet to win a game, and they're in the bottom tier of SCS teams. They've also played University of Maine, who's better known for hockey. I didn't even know they had a football team until this season. And then they played NIU, who is that Northern Illinois?
Yeah,
or
the same
Northern
team
Iowa?
that competed against
I don't
Ohio
know.
State. Ohio State, another top-tier defense, who did about the same thing that Boston College did. Drew Hare, who's a top-tier, not a top-tier, he's a very good quarterback, been a very good quarterback. Ohio State dominated him. He only got 81 passing yards. You know what Boston College did against them? The same thing, 80 passing yards. They're just as good, or their defense is just as good as Ohio State. Their offense is trash, don't get me wrong. But in terms of that defense, it's legit. I just read you all the stats. It's impossible to say that this Boston College defense, #1 in the nation, every defensive statistic isn't legit.
The offense is trash, Joe.
Florida State, who was their only good game this season, they have Everett Golson, who has only thrown for 580 yards in 4 games.
Because of
He's
BC!
struggling. Because of BC? They've had 3 other games besides that to lesser opponents. Then Dalvin Cook just said the other day that he hasn't been playing very well. And he hasn't. He only has 476 yards. Florida State does not have a good offense
They're scoring
right now.
30
And
points.
it helped
Every other game they
because
scored at
they
least
were
30
in
points.
Chestnut
I
Hill.
except
love
for that
this stuff.
game.
This is good stuff. This is the best part. This is
You
the
give
bread
us
and butter of
points,
the UC, but I'm going to have to end it. And I'm going to have to give the points to Joe here because you haven't heard of UMaine either because they're also an FCS team. So 2 FCS teams BC's gone up against. I can't trust them. Everyone's throwing stuff today. I can't control anybody. Thank God we're at the last question of the day, and it's a real treat at that, a mix of pro and college football. It's what makes Mel Kiper's clock tick. It's the NFL draft. We've mentioned some Heisman hopefuls this round, but that does not necessarily translate to pro talent. Matt Leinart, RG3, and dare I say it, Tim Tebow. But if you are the owner of the #1 pick in the 2016 NFL draft, who would be your guy, Joe?
Well, you can't go with a quarterback, mostly because you don't know who is going to get that #1 overall pick. So you have to go kind of more of a safe pick. But Joey Bosa from Ohio State, the defensive end, has been compared by ESPN, multiple CBS, and multiple other outlets as the next J.J. Watt. He could have gone top 5 last year, but he wasn't eligible. This year he's eligible. He's 6'5", 275, and has a 4.8 40. He's looking real good as my #1.
So the journalist is using other journalism outlets. Andre, what do you say?
Yeah, you said you can't go with a quarterback because we don't know who it's going to be. I can promise you one thing. The team that gets the #1 pick is going to have a garbage quarterback. They're going to need a quarterback. It's going to have to be Jared Goff from California. Jared Goff he's been a beast the last 3 years.
Wait,
he's
is he from California, or does he...
the University
lives
of
from
California
They have a
quarterback.
football team?
They do have a football team.
okay.
They have a Pac-12 football team, and he's been very good. He's 4-0 so far. Has that team ranked without any other talent on the team. I mean, the guy's a
Without
statistical
other
beast.
talent
He's
on the
been.
team.
I've seen Connor Cook also in the discussion. You can't go with a defensive player. You talk about Joey Bosa being the guy, being compared to J.J. Watt. I don't care. Every year there's a guy compared to J.J. Watt, and it's starting to really annoy me. J.J. Watt was a 2-star guy in college football. In college, he worked his way to be who he is today. He's the best in the business right now for a reason. Comparing Joey Bosa as an Ohio State fan to J.J. Watt is an insult
He's
to
getting
J.J.
annoyed
Watt.
over here, Joe, so I'm going to need you to respond to him.
Who is Cal playing this year? They play in the
Playing
Pac-12. Oregon, who leads the Pac-12, is not even ranked anymore. They've played Grambling State, San Diego State.
But what about Joey Bosa in the NFL draft? Let's not. let's-
You can't. We have to talk about. He's picking a quarterback who plays at Cal first.
Because you need a quarterback if you're going to win in the
Yeah, a
National
good
Football
quarterback.
League. There's 2 quarterbacks that can go. It's either Connor Cook or it's Jared Goff. You need a quarterback in
You're
the
not
NFL
trying
to
to
win.
pick
So
the
which
best
one
of
do
the
you take?
worst. Is
But
that
why?
what
But
you're
who
saying?
would
Why
need a-
pick
but who
the
would need
next
a
J.J.
quarterback?
Watt and
Last
Joey
The Bears
Bosa?
would need a
Okay,
quarterback.
okay. Last question. What?
This is unbelievable.
He goes #1, but why? To which team? Why would it make sense, Joe?
To pick Joey Bosa?
Who will be going
Because
#1
he
to
could
pick him?
change your defense.
Who will
Okay,
be
I'll
picking
actually
him?
answer
That's
your
what
question.
we don't know. So
I'll
why are
actually-
you going to pick a quarterback
I'll actually
#1
answer your question.
when
The
you don't
Bears-
even know who could be the quarterback? Maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
It's
are
not
the
gonna be the
worst team.
Buccaneers. The
And you're
Buccaneers
going to
aren't
take
the worst team.
another quarterback
Quickly,
when
though,
you just took Jameis
It's not
Winston
going to
number
be the
one?
Buccaneers. You can keep talking
gotta
about
go to
them, but it's
Andre.
going to be the Bears. The Bears are absolute
gonna be
garbage
the-
this
They
year.
have Jay Cutler till
stinks.
2020.
Stop
What
talking
are they
about Jay
supposed to do
Cutler.
with his contract?
Jay Cutler stinks. All right,
2020.
let's acknowledge one thing. Jay Cutler stinks.
Jay
This
Cutler
team
stinks, and I will
They need a
acknowledge that.
quarterback. Okay, so you got to take
But
one of
they
the
have a
two.
huge contract.
I'm gonna-
for
Connor
Jay
Cook
Cutler
doesn't have the
for
stats.
five more
I'm going to
years.
have to end it
It has
here.
to be gone.
And just because Andre gave me a little bit of substance and
A
given
little
me a
of
little bit
substance.
of context in terms of where these guys will end up and why they would make sense to go number one. And it would make sense for a team like the Bears to get a quarterback where Joey Bosa, he might go there, but they might have a team that has different needs. But I'm going to have to give the points to Andre and the Red Scare, and that's it. The Red Scare have won the first matchup of the fall season here on the UC. Basking it, boys. As for the Purple Panthers, valiant effort, but better time next week. Now let's go to yellow cards when we come back.